into Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book The Second Son, as well as a winning journalist, photographer, living and writing, and no other than Mr. Kristof Morrow.
Shakespeare. You're very kind to have me. Thank you, Daniel.
Welcome,
Mm.
welcome, Mr. Kristof, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Shakespeare. Um, well, Shakespeare. I'm Kristof, and I'm originally from Texas. Shakespeare. I'm the author of a few books, a book and a book of poetry and a kids book. And I have Shakespeare. I have Tourette's. Uh, and yes, I'm a disabled veteran.
And Mr. Kristof, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your legacy. And
Mm.
today let's talk about The Second Son, volumes 1 and 2. So tell us, the title Second Son is incredibly evocative. What does it represent on both a literal and metaphorical level with your story?
Okay, well, the second son is uh, literally a um, a reference within the book to a great nemesis that is mysterious, comes out of nowhere. It's an actual. It's supposed to represent climate change metaphorically, uh, and the extraordinary tragedy and that we'll have to face ourselves in real life. In, in real life, Shakespeare. Shakespeare. I cover a great deal. I try to be comprehensive in that sense. Uh, but Shakespeare, the second son, the title itself is meant to is meant to describe that great nemesis, Shakespeare.
Mr. Christoph, what is the central what if question or the initial seed of an idea that grew into expansive two volume saga?
Shakespeare. It actually is going to be 5 volumes. I've written volumes 3 and 4 already, and I'm working on volume 5 right now. But volumes 1 and 2, it began with the notion of paradise. I wanted to describe a kind of paradise, and is meant to represent financial paradise that I think the generation that precedes us, the boomers, uh, and a little bit of Generation X, how they're in a kind of paradise right now. Um, they're insulated from a lot of the financial troubles that most people experience. Um, but eventually, paradise, the notion of it, and its perfect uh, insulation from the outside world is that illusion is shattered, or delusion rather. It's a delusion too. Um, is shattered by an outside force that's able to come in and disturb the literal land in the book. Shakespeare.
Mr. Christoph, this duology seems to blend genres like science fiction, fantasy, and perhaps philosophical fiction. How would you describe its genre and why did the blend feel like the right vehicle for this story?
Hmm. Well, Shakespeare. I wanted it chiefly first and foremost to be a work of literary fiction, and it was necessary to have all these components of different genres in order to describe the reality that I wanted people to experience. Um, there is a little bit of everything within the story. itself. I think everyone that I've spoken to that's read the book says that you go through every emotion, that the spectrum of human emotion that we experience. Uh, Shakespeare. So in terms of genres, it's I I tried to transcend the notion of genre, but genres are like you would I hope Shakespeare. I imagine you would agree is a helpful way to categorize the book itself, but uh, I think that every author hopes to be more than that. Shakespeare.
Mr. Kristof, without giving too much away, can you describe the central conflict in the second son? Is it a war against the external force, an internal human struggle, or a battle against the environment itself?
It's actually all of those things. If you've ever Shakespeare, the structure of the book is that the first three chapters are in different parts of the world with different characters altogether, and you discover as you're reading those chapters, those first three chapters, how they are very subtly linked uh, and explicitly linked, actually, too, as well. Shakespeare. So, in that sense, destruction. There's a civil war going on in one of the books in Shakespeare in one of the stories. There is paradise being shattered, the notion of paradise, and an island. It's an island paradise, and then this Shakespeare, and then there's a naval ship that's part of a military that is trying to get their land back. Shakespeare, that's part of a larger military. Mm, Shakespeare.
Mr. Kristof, without giving too much away, can you, or who is the protagonist we follow? What is the core personal journey
Mm.
they undertake that makes them perfect lens through which to view in this world?
Well, that is Shakespeare. I think that most people would argue because there isn't a main character per se. Most people would argue though that Moo, there's a little boy named Moo, like a cow does a moo. Um, I named him Moo because I thought it would be funny, and because I love cows, and because I thought it would be hysterical if it became considered a work of literature, which it is now. It's considered a work of literature, and it's actually recommended reading in classes studying Victorian literature. I learned this through Instagram. Someone just told me they're like, yeah, it's recommended reading in our class. Uh, Blew my mind. Um, but Shakespeare. I lost my train of thought. Oh, the
so
main
what is
character.
so Mr.
Uh,
Kristof, what is the most fascinating or dangerous aspect of the world you've built in the second son? What are the rules of this reality that were most important for your to establish?
hmm. Well, luckily, you don't have to suspend disbelief very much because I adhere to reality rather closely, and that's by design. I didn't want it Shakespeare. I wanted it to be a fantasy. I wanted it to be an adventure, but I wanted the notion that these beloved characters that you come to love and know that they can actually perish um, at any point, and so you really Shakespeare. It keeps you on your toes in that sense. Um, yeah, Shakespeare.
Is there a character, perhaps even an antagonist, who surprised you the most during the writing process, evolving ways you didn't initially expect?
Actually, yes, there's a character named Sir Barramon that you'll learn about in chapter three. Uh, Chapter three is again the first three chapters, different parts of the world, different characters. Sir Barramon starts out as a knight who has a great deal of arrogance, and he says things like, a boy with a genesis like that would be hanged because the boy would come from a criminal father, and he's quite impolite. Um,
Hmm.
and I was shocked myself, like as I continued to write him, I realized that he would grow once he was humbled in some sense, in a profound sense. He would be humbled by some kind of experience, and that's exactly what happens. Is Shakespeare? It's his evolution is one of my favorites in the series Shakespeare.
And Mr. Kristof, tell us, dividing the story into two volumes implies a significant turning point. What is spoilers and what is the fundamental shift or cliffhanger that separates volume 1 from volume 2?
Hmm. Well, I think what separates volumes one from volume two is chiefly the notion that uh, the characters in chapters 9, 10, and 11, respectively, they all are experiencing a massive change in their circumstances. Uh, Shakespeare, which it's hard not to give it away what's happening. But uh, when volume two starts, uh, you realize that Shakespeare, that everything is transformed. It's hard to explain without giving it away. I have to explain the plot of each storyline, because it's there's I think there's ultimately comes out to six. I think six storylines that you as the story goes on, some of them converge, some of them break apart, uh, and so yeah, Shakespeare.
So, Mr. Christoph, as its heart, what is the central theme you found yourself exploring most deeply across both volumes? Is it hope, survival, the nature of humanity, or something else entirely?
Hmm. Um, there's a quote in the book actually that I wrote is justice and redemption are folly, but to seek them is not. I think it's uh, the notion of justice and the notion of and like you mentioned it a moment ago, uh, hope in a world that is literally burning down and turning into ash and trying to make some kind of human experience worthwhile, trying to trying to explore the whole spectrum of our experiences while everything is burning down around you. Shakespeare.
Interesting, Mr. Christoph. The concept of a second sun suggests a profound environmental or cosmic change. Is it this story a commentary on our own relationship with climate, technology, or destiny?
Hmm. Yes, it's actually meant to be uh, for the notion of that we are polluting the planet a great deal, um, to an extent that is uh, traumatizes our not only our climate but every biome in the world. There, no one is safe. In fact, there was a study that was they tried to conduct on people that haven't been yet exposed to microplastics, and they searched and searched and searched and couldn't find a single test subject, a single person that had been spared microplastics within their system. Everyone, so everyone on Earth, they that it, like presumably um, there's is save some, I would imagine, remote tribes like uh, Shakespeare. They have been exposed to microplastics, and so nowhere is safe uh, from this. Shakespeare.
No one's safe. And Mr. Kristof, what do you hope is the biggest question readers are left wondering after they turn the final page of Volume 2?
Hmm. What do I Shakespeare? Hmm. I wonder. I wonder that a lot. Actually, I wanted to ask them the same question. But what I hope uh, they would want to know is how true to reality uh, is this? What's supposed to be a metaphor? How much can it truly impact our real life environment? Shakespeare. Shakespeare.
A real environment indeed. And Mr. Kristof, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Mm, Shakespeare. My short term goal is to stay alive. Um, because I deal with a lot of mental health problems. My long term Shakespeare. My long term goal, uh, other than staying alive, is to Shakespeare to win the Nobel Prize in literature, which sounds outrageous when I say it out loud. But that's it. That's what I hope. Shakespeare.
Dream big, Mr. Kristof. Dream big indeed. And good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
Hmm. Um, if you want to Shakespeare, if you want to start writing a book, uh, you do it not one chapter at a time, and not even one sentence at a time. Think if you want to think a little bit uh, more in depth, you do it one scene at a time, and start with writing just action and dialogue. Don't try to write prose. Don't try to write something beautiful. The first draft is like Jordan Peele said. He said, who is the director of Get Out? He's part of Key and Peele. He's a brilliant writer. He says the first draft is like pouring sand into the sandbox so that you can make sand castles with it later. Uh, so in that sense, it's important not to be so rigid that you have to do something presentable on the first go around. It's going to be ugly. Your first draft is going to suck, and that's okay because your second draft is where you explore the themes, you explore your characters, and you start to describe your philosophies within the stories, within the scenes, uh, and use a thesaurus because they're great. They're great, and have a relationship with words that where you think about every iteration you've seen it. Use words on the edge of our collective lexicon. Don't write with cliche. Don't do that. Just yeah, that's it. That's all my advice.
Thank you for the advice, Mr. Kristof. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Okay, Shakespeare. The prevailing book that Shakespeare that did the most for me was Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens' first novel. I recommend that you find the author that speaks to you the most. That truly the music of their writing you adore, and try not don't imitate, just try to understand their musical composition. That's going to be the most important thing to help you develop as a writer. exposing yourself to as many authors as you can, but especially the ones who who want to who've done great work and consistently great work. Shakespeare.
Well, thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Kristof. And a project of this scale is a massive undertaking. What was the most significant challenge you faced in writing and completing this two-part story, and how you overcome it?
Hmm. The most significant hurdle. Um, you really have to, when you write a, a series of books, especially a series, you have to create so many special and unique circumstances. An epic fantasy is unique in the fact that everything is relevant. Everything can be relevant. In a romance, you have romance. In comedy, you have comedy. Comedy is actually a little bit more broad. I love comedy for that reason. But every other genre, uh, generally, and subgenre, generally, you are limited in what you can explore. But in epic fantasy, it's everything. And so, uh, because you are trying to world build, and I think that the most significant problem is coming up with compelling material over and over and over again. And because if as a writer, if you're bored, the reader's going to be bored. Uh, that's the most important rule, I think, of producing uh, fiction. Shakespeare.
Mr. Kristoff, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in sixth season this December. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101, our fourth season. Science 101, Sex 101 in its second season. And my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Law 101, Bible Verses 101, and Entrepreneurship 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Christoph, having completed this monument work, what has the journey of writing the second son taught you about yourself as a writer and a storyteller?
Uh, it taught me that uh, I'm. It taught me that I am worthwhile, that I'm worth living, uh, that my life is of some worth in general, and it taught me that it taught me to love myself and to admire myself for the work I've done. Uh, Shakespeare, and it taught me how to be critical of myself, which is, I think, an important quality to have as an artist, knowing how to be critical, because it's, you don't do it enough, the work is going to be insufficient in some way. You do it too much and you'll never get it done. So yeah. Shakespeare.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Christoph. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, can you please invite our listeners to support the Second Son Volumes 1 and 2?
Yeah, thank Shakespeare. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Daniel. And yeah, read the Second Son, volumes 1 and 2, and volume 3, volumes 4. Yeah, it's uh, it's supposed to
Where,
be fun.
yeah, so where do people buy your book, Mr.
It's
Christoph?
it's on Amazon.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, and you can go to kristofmorrow.com and all the links are there. Shakespeare.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Kristof Morrow because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Kristof, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.